My guest says, and I'm quoting him, one would think that a toxic train derailment in Ohio would warrant a visit from the president. The accident, which resulted in a release of harmful chemicals into the air and forced evacuations, occurred on February 3. Joe Biden has yet to visit. In fact, the first former or current president to visit was Donald Trump.
I am asking that they trust the government, and that's hard. We know that there is a lack of trust.
While the Environmental Protection Agency maintains that the air and water are safe,
watch this. Just see that chemical.
Republican Senator J.D. Vance of Ohio visited Leslie Run, a local stream, tweeting video of what he describes as pollution in the water.
I've had massive headaches since it started.
And locals say they're feeling the effects of the toxic chemicals, which include known carcinogen vinyl chloride, a colorless gas used to make some plastics and also produced in tobacco smoke. Chris Ammon says he bought this property so that his grandchildren could play in the creek.
I ain't putting them in it this year. I don't know if I'll ever put them back in it.
Some have left their homes entirely. Christina Ferguson moved into a hotel because at home, she says the water just isn't right.
You get a tingling in your tongue and on your lips, heaviness in the chest. It's not a headache, it's pressure, it's dizziness.
Please welcome Washington Examiner's Chris Tremoli. Chris, I'm asking them to trust the government. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, especially after the events of this past week and past couple of weeks of what the government has caught not being the most honest or truthful, or not even so much that, but just knowing what they're talking about after the COVID revelations. It's kind of hard to have any faith in people asking after this derailment to believe the Biden administration.
Okay, tell me why you think Biden has not shown up.
Probably because there's no political benefit to it. There's nothing for him to gain. He's shown that he can travel across country. Anytime there is a black unarmed man shot by a police officer, he can fly there in a second. Yet when there's an ecological disaster in East Palestine, Ohio, when the mayor has begged sort of for President Biden to visit, the residents have said that he's done nothing. He sent Mayor Pete there to the Secretary of Transportation to go, and he only did so after Trump went. So it is pretty disgraceful that the President of the United States can travel 4,000, 5,000 miles to Kiev, Ukraine, but not like a few hundred miles to East Palestine in his own country to see the Americans impacted by this.
So what are people in East Palestine saying about the water? What are they saying about the air?
Well, the officials there, the EPA, have said that the water and everything's okay. But as Senator Vance showed in his video, that doesn't really seem to be the truth or the entire truth, as the chemical trails and leaks in the water kind of shown that it's infected with the toxic chemicals. So I know that at one point they were encouraging, or the mayor of the city was encouraging residents to drink bottled water. It seems like a good idea at the time, given that video. So yes, that's pretty much the latest that I know of the update of what's happened there. And it's just kind of, trying to seemingly be swept under the rug by Democrats, the mainstream media, and the Biden administration. And it's just quite frankly, it's pretty pathetic that, Biden can't really go there. And he actually refused to go there because there was a clipping, I think, a few days ago in which someone asked if he was actually going to go, and he outright said that he wasn't going to go. And I just kind of think, you're the president of the United States. No reason for you not to visit there.
Now, you mentioned that Trump came there. There was even an attempt, Chris, as you know, to blame Trump, claiming that he rolled back certain regulations. Even the Washington Post said the Trump rollback had nothing whatever to do with the train derailment. The Washington Post said that.
Yeah, and that just goes to show the depths to which the Democrats will sink to try to take any responsibility for anything. And it's not that this was their fault. Obviously, this was just an accident. I don't think the Biden administration, the Trump administration, anyone could be blamed. But Mayor Pete Buttigieg, Mayor Pete, he's not mayor anymore, but Secretary Buttigieg specifically came out and tried to blame the Trump administration for that, as were numerous Democrats with the whole regulations thing. I know, like, The View made a big thing about it. Left-wing talk show hosts all did the same thing. So it's pretty ridiculous that they would actually do that. Although it's kind of par for the course when you think about it. If anything that goes wrong in the country is Trump's fault. Democrat
Senator Sherrod Brown was asked whether or not he would drink the water and gave some long-winded answer, Chris, and never said, yes, I would drink it.
Well, yeah, I mean, if a picture paints 1,000 words, that video paints 1,000,000. And that shows pretty much basically, he has his own skepticism to believe what was going on there. And I think that kind of is indicative of how bad things might actually be. Not that that's to be unexpected during an accident like that, but it's just the fact that they're basically not prioritizing the health of the citizens of East Palestine, Ohio, is very disconcerting.
Got a question for you. Are you concerned with stock market volatility?
Markets closing in on their worst year since the financial crisis.
Since 2020, the Dow closed down more than 1,100 points.
Financial markets had their worst day since the start of the pandemic.
Do you really trust this economy?
The U.S. economy could be headed for a recession.
Tonight, the alarming spike in inflation soaring to its highest level in nearly 40 years.
What if you can invest in a portfolio with a high fixed rate of return that's not correlated to the stock market? Well, you can turn your monthly income on or off, compound it, whatever you choose, and get this, there is no loss of principal if you need your money back, and absolutely no fees. Just log on to investyrefy.com. Folks, I personally invest with my own money with YRefi. So log on to investyrefy.com or call 888-YREFI24. That's 888-YREFI24. Do we even know what toxic chemicals there were in that train?
I think there were. I'm going to ask off the top of my head. Chemistry was not my best subject in school, so I do realize there was a whole smorgasbord, so to speak, of chemicals that were not beneficial to humans, so to speak. So, but yeah, no, it was definitely it could potentially endanger the water supply. Like I said, the problem is you have the EPA saying everything's okay, but then you have that video by J.D. Vance. So you have the government saying things are okay, but then the government said everything was okay with the COVID vaccines.
Right.
So you could draw a parallel to, or the government said there was no lab leak theory. We all know now that's true. So unfortunately, we live in a time of great skepticism when it comes to the government, and particularly the Biden administration, who has not really been the most accountable for their actions and their words. Remember when Biden was on the campaign trail, he wasn't going to blame anyone else. He was going to take responsibility for failures or anything, and routinely criticized President Trump when he did this. Yet at the same time, during his presidency, President Biden is quite different from candidate Biden. Him and his administration do everything they can to share responsibility and blame it on everyone but themselves.
Now, do we have any idea long-term what's going to happen to the water, to the air? I hear that pets, animals are dying. Do we have any idea long-term what the effect is going to be in East Palestine?
So I've read conflicting reports, and that's kind of one of the problems that as a nation, maybe even as a world that we face nowadays, you can literally find studies and reports to say anything. Right. So I've read things where it basically said, everything will return to normal in a few weeks, in rather, not a short amount of time. I read things that there could be lingering, damaging environmental impacts for years to come. So that's above my pay grade and my knowledge as an environmentalist. I don't know which one to believe. And it is unfortunate that you can actually just, read two stories, two reports and two studies on the same thing, and they have the conflicting report, knowledge.
Now, last thing, Chris, you said that there was no political upside. I'm kind of surprised because this is Ohio. This is a swing state. It's a very important state. And even if this area is an area maybe where Joe Biden did not win voters, you'd think he'd care about a state like Ohio, like a state like Michigan, a state like Virginia, a swing state. So from political standpoint, I think the only reason now, Chris, he doesn't go is because it'll look as if he's been forced to go and that he looks weak for now caving in to the pressure to go. Other than that, I don't get why this politically did not make a win-win for him to show up.
Well, I think you actually nailed it on the head when you said it showed Biden cared. Like, first of all and foremost, he should have done it just because he cared, for everything, for political side. You do raise an excellent point, though, but now it would kind of look like he would look weak. He would look like he's caving. But, I mean, at the same time, I asked, like, is doing the right thing ever wrong? And visiting the city is actually the right thing, whether it's perceived he's, caving or not. I do think the fact that that Trump went before him is also another reason why he's not going to go now, because it would look like, as you said. So it's just disappointing overall from a guy who's been in politics and D.C. for nearly half a century, and him to be so politically inept and empathetically inept to not do this, and not only not do this, but go to a foreign country thousands of miles away over the Atlantic Ocean instead of going to East Palestine. It shows, I don't think there's any greater example that Biden puts America last. And in this case, going to Ukraine shows that. And you can make the argument that this is another example of how Trump puts America first.
Chris Tremoli, Washington Examiner. Chris, as always, thank you for coming on.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
You got it. What's this? The great Eldersky has in his baby brown libertarian fingers a pair of my slippers. Indeedy do. These are tan. They come in different colors. They also come in different styles. Call the number on your screen or go to the website. MyPillow.com, promo code ELDER. This, of course, is the product that started it all. It is the My Pillow. Now there's a My Pillow 2.0. Again, you've never slept on anything more comfortable. Go to MyPillow.com, promo code ELDER, or call the number on your screen. And remember, there are over 100 different products that Mike Lindell has for you. This is a 6-pack of towels. Towels that work, meaning they are absorbent. They absorb the water. Isn't that what you want a towel to do? They come in different colors. Again, MyPillow.com, promo code ELDER, or call the number on your screen. Finally, this is the Giza Dream Bedsheet. Finest cotton in the world, found in an area in Egypt known as Giza. Mike went around the world to find the best cotton, and he ended up finding the best cotton in Giza in Egypt. As you can see, mine is white. Well, I am the black face of white supremacy. You're not. So what other color would I get? But you may want a different color. So go to the website, mypillow.com, promo code ELDER, or call the number on your screen. Remember, over 100 different products. MyPillow.com, promo code ELDER, MyPillow.com, promo code ELDER. Now, I know you love the show, so be sure to hit that like button. Also, hit subscribe. We're trying to get our subscriptions up. And you see that little donate button, hit that, throw a little something in the tip jar. Now scroll down and get on our mailing list, because believe it or not, from time to time, YouTube seems to have an issue with my videos. I don't know why. But if you want to make sure you don't miss any of them, you got to get on our mailing list. And finally, LarryWithEpoch.com, LarryWithEpoch.com. I am Larry Elder. This has been the Larry Elder Show for Epoch Times. Remember, we've got a country to save. I'll see you next time.